Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for today's writing tip. I'm Staci Mauney, co-owner, editor, and writer at PrestigePros.com. This video is the first in a series of 4 videos that I'm doing about the different levels of editing. At Prestige Pros, I do developmental editing, line editing, copy editing, and proofreading. While there are other levels of editing, those are the ones that I focus on here. And you don't need to know all the ins and outs of each level of editing. You don't need to know all the specifics, but it can be helpful to have an idea of the different types of editing and what all they consist of if you're thinking about hiring an editor. Today, I want to discuss the developmental edit. I've included an example and a practice exercise at the end, so let's get started. The developmental edit is a big picture edit. It's one of the very first steps in the editing process, and I'll be honest, you don't have to have an editor for this. You can do this yourself. You can bounce ideas off of a friend, but if you struggle at this level with structure and things like that, then you might want to consider hiring a developmental editor. At this level, the developmental edit is an in-depth edit of your entire manuscript, and some of the things that a developmental editor will look at will be your structure and style, the language that you use, the theme, pacing, character development, use of dialogue, did you include all of the senses, your narrative voice, all of those kinds of things. So if you struggle with any of those things, then like I said, you might want to hire someone to help. Developmental editors offer specific suggestions to fill plot holes or gaps, and they also consider the marketability of your book. This is especially important for self-published authors because their novels often fit in multiple genres, and it can be really hard to figure out exactly which genre fits best. A developmental editor can provide insight into this, and this is something that I've done for a number of self-published authors. One thing to note is that at this point, a developmental editor will not edit grammar and mechanics. So much of the content can change at this point that you don't want to make those grammatical changes now and then have to do that again later. So I will address those types of edits, grammar and mechanics, in subsequent videos, but just keep in mind that that will come at a different level of editing. So here is the example for you and the practice exercise. Just think about the following story and determine the part of the story that you would focus on if you were to write this. My grandma was a strong, faith-filled woman who lived to be 85 years old. She was born in 1918 at the end of the Spanish influenza epidemic, and her mother died when she was just a teenager. My grandma was the youngest, and so she went to live with her oldest sister who was already married. And my grandma married young and had 6 kids herself. And a couple of years after she and my grandpa got married, she found out he had a secret: he couldn't read. Once she found this out, she helped him and taught him to read by using the newspaper and the Bible. It changed their lives. So if this were the story that you were writing, where would you start? What part of that story would you focus on? Would you focus on her childhood? Would you focus on her marriage? Would you focus on teaching my grandpa to read? There's no right or wrong answer. This is simply an exercise to help you stretch your big picture muscles. And to take this exercise one step further, write a brief summary of how you would focus that story and include your genre and theme. You can make it a modern day couple. You could leave it set in a historical setting. So that is completely up to you because it's now your story. If you found this video helpful, please click like below and subscribe for more great content. Thanks for watching and happy writing.